Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about common math mistakes made by Malaysian students. In today's episode, we are going to discuss about square root. At first, we have 3 questions. In each question, only one option is correct. Please choose your answer. Let you some time to think. After that, can play back the video. Okay, the answer is like this. What? Why? Especially why is question 2 like this? Don't worry, we will discuss about question 2 later. Because I've seen many people answer question 2 wrongly. If you answer 3 questions correctly and you understood the reasons behind it, then you may skip the video to this time frame. Okay, let's continue. We will first discuss question 1 and 3. Right now we have y equals to square root of x. If we sub x equals to 9, the first question will be having an answer of 3. Then, question 3 is actually a simplified form of question 1. Square root of 9 becomes square root of 3 square. Eventually you will get positive 3. You might notice that this graph doesn't contain negative y value. So, it is impossible to have a plus minus 3 as an answer. If you include y equals to negative square root x, then you have 2 graphs. The red line represents y is a positive, where its formula is y equals to positive square root of x, while the blue line represents y is negative. Its formula is y equals to negative square root of x. Usually you can also write it as y squared equals to x, or y equals to plus minus square root of x. Then when at x equals to 9, you will have 2 answers. If y is positive, you will have y equals to 3. If y is negative, then you must use the formula of y equals to negative square root x. Eventually you will get y equals to negative 3. So question 1 and 3 just now, the situation is actually using the formula y equals to positive square root of x. So you must be careful in exam to use the positive or the negative sign in exam because some people are getting this wrong. Now let us look at question 2. If we have this thing, how could you solve it? Since square root is inside and square is outside, so you can cancel them up to get negative 3. Attention, be aware of this. When square root is inside and square is at the outside, it doesn't matter x is positive or negative, you can straight away cancel them up. Then if we have a question that has a similar form like question 2, square root is at the outside and square is at the inside, how would you solve this? Some students might be thinking, just cancel the square root and the square together to get the answer as negative 3. Here comes an important thing. Many people doing this wrongly. Actually, you can't just straight away cancel them up. The correct way to do this is to finish the negative 3 square inside first. Make it becomes 9. Then only you perform the square root to get positive 3. Or you can use the second method. That is, adding a minus at the front, then you will get positive 3. Why? Oh, it's like this. When you have square is at the inside, square root is at the outside. If your x is positive, then your formula will be positive x. If your x is negative, then your formula will be negative x. The more formal way to write this is you can write it as modulus x. Attention! This situation will happen only when square is at the inside and square root is at the outside. So you have to be aware of this, especially during exam. Okay, now let us apply this at inequality. When we have this inequality, assume that you already know k, sigma, and n are positive constant value. X bar can either be positive or negative. When we square root both sides, what will happen? We must be aware of this. Right now, the square is at the inside, square root is at the outside, and we know that x bar minus 10 can either be positive or negative. According to what we have discussed just now, we must modulus the x bar minus 10. Others you can just do as usual because you have confirmed them that they are positive values. Since modulus can be written in two situations, one situation is where x bar is greater than 10, then the equation will be positive x bar minus 10. Otherwise, if x bar is less than 10, your equation will be negative bracket x bar minus 10. So we need to take these two situations into consideration. Therefore, you may also write plus minus bracket x bar minus 10 to consider these two situations. Then you may separate them up, becomes two answers. Notice that I'm using the word and instead of using the word or, meaning that the answer satisfies both inequalities at the same time. It doesn't just satisfy by just one inequality. Maybe some of you have learned statistics before. This is actually the critical region for exact tests, derived from likelihood ratio tests. How about when we apply this concept in limits? How to do this question? This question is a limits to infinity question. At first, we may perform a factorization, or find ways to cancel out x squared and x terms. You can choose to multiply these terms at the right, 1 over square root of x squared divided by 1 over square root of x squared. You can do this because this term is actually equivalent to 1. Notice that we have a term where square root is at the outside, x squared is at the inside, so we must be aware of x is positive or negative. Since our question is limits when x approach to negative infinity, it implies that our x is negative value. Since x is negative, according to what we have discussed earlier, when x is negative, square root of x squared is negative x. For our convenience for cancelling terms later, I will substitute this into the green circle. Then you multiply, cancel the unneeded terms. Eventually you will get negative 1 over 3. Second example, we have another limits to infinity question. At first, we may perform factorization, or find ways to cancel x squared and x term. You can choose to multiply this term at the right, 1 over x divided by 1 over x. You can do this because the term is actually equivalent to 1. If we modify this green circle, because after modify we can cancel out some terms with denominator at the left, then this x must be modified into something like square root of x squared. But notice that since this question is x approaches to negative infinity, so that x is negative according to what we have discussed earlier, when x is negative, square root of x squared equal to negative x. We can notice that the left side is positive, right hand side is negative times negative. Then what is x? Do some modifications, becomes x equals to negative square root of x squared. Left hand side is negative, right hand side is negative sign times positive value. Okay, then we substitute this into the green circle. Then you multiply, cancel the unneeded terms. Eventually you will get negative 1 over 2. And that's all for today. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe as I will upload more video about this. Thank you, bye.